What's up, everybody? It's Over Mountain Gaming. We're about to jump into some more World of Warcraft on this lovely Monday night. I know I'm excited to do a little more playing with you guys. Before I become dumb, I'll go ahead and switch it over to go ahead and switch it over to here. I have a new AZEROTH power, but I can't really get it. I don't have that part of the is the quest line done? Like the opening? Not exactly sure. So what I planned on doing was starting out of the path for the cloak and doing some time walking. I wanted to hit 2 more time walking dungeons before tomorrow for reset so I could get that sweet piece of gear. So I think my plan is to queue time walking, and while that's going on, hit up start of the quest line for Rathian. I do think I have to that's not the way I'm trying to go. I do think I have to go to Najatar first and start that, but I don't think I have to do anything in it. We'll figure that part out. I have to get down below for the Harbor Master, which is this office, I believe. Yep.
I've seen enough war for the both of us. News from the front?
Alright, let's set sail. Woo! I've already seen that cinematic before. Not really wanting to do it again. We'll go ahead and do the opening here.
You should have stayed in the water, snake. So many dead.
Yeah, can I talk to you now?
What
Okay.
news do you bring?
They pressed in from all sides. We must find safety for our troops before more are lost. Come with me. The Lord Admiral is nearby.
Pretty cool. I don't think I've ever recognized that before.
We cannot let the world fall to darkness. I know what must be done.
Jaina, we're ready to move.
Riding on some ice.
I will do what I can. We all thank the light you survived.
I never
Any news?
miss a shot. Our vessels have been lost.
Alright,
Casualties are extensive.
let's do this opening quest.
Survivors are gathering in a cave ahead. They speak of others being seized by
But
the Naga
probably won't
for some
do
sort of
anything. We
ritual.
won't really do anything with it.
Look out!
He's just gonna get stomped by Gin, right?
I can hold them off for now.
Not without me.
Very well. Chandris, can you handle the Naga ahead with our champion's help?
We will make them pay.
We'll meet you up ahead.
Yep. Still haven't gotten a good swing timer. I desperately need.
They are sacrificing our soldiers.
For what? Try to summon old gods?
Sacrifices for the tide.
Yep. For the tide. Always what it is. Just stomp that glass orb into submission. Don't know why I interrupted her. Did nothing to interrupt. Jeez, that shield made her live a long while. These opening quests are pretty boring. And honestly, the rest of the quests aren't even better. I've just never been a big fan of underwater stuff. This whole expansion's just been very disappointing to me because of how much I wanted to like it after coming off of Legion, and just the fact that I couldn't like it as much as I wanted to. And it's okay to not like an expansion. I mean, Warlords of Draenor did exist, right? But there comes a point where you look at the game and you're just so bored by it. And I don't mean by lack of content. I have so much to do. I have unreal amounts of things to do. I haven't done any raid full complete. I could do every single one of them. But none of them interest me. Not a single one of them interests me. I'm trying to find things that interest me in this. But I'm more interested in fashion craft right now than I am in World of Warcraft. And that's a big thing to switch over to from being a hardcore player in Legion. I mean, hardcore is in getting AOTC and that's about it. You know, nothing like ahead of or cutting edge or anything. But like, you know, going from that to going to wanting to essentially play the game because I can look cool in it is not the best. I mean, when my favorite parts of this game are popping open collections here and seeing what I can piece together, here's a problem with your game. Because I've never been one for that. I've always enjoyed having the content, seeing things to do.
This vile serpent commands the others. Stop her!
Enjoying what I can and experimenting, but none of that sounds interesting.
The sentinels stand ready.
You know, looking at stuff like raids. If we just pulled open raids, which I will here in a second.
Let us rejoin the others.
Let's get to
the sooner
the
we can leave this place, the better.
oh. When I pull open the raid adventure guide and I look across the raids, my just I try to find something that's like, wow. You know, dungeons, I mean, there's cool stuff. I don't like troll shit. So King's Rest and Atel Desar and all that stuff are out for me.
This
Cold
cave
Egor,
won't remain safe for long.
perfect.
Then
It's
we
a
have no
prison.
choice
That
but
shit
to
is
move
so
forward.
cool, man. Big prison
Shanks, hold
breaks,
this ground.
fighting your way
Send
through
word
like
once
up from
we've
the
found
sewers, like you're going
Be
in. Like
careful.
that kind of
Something
shit is
about
my
this place will
favorite
be
stuff to do
friend.
in
He
video
will watch
games,
over you.
role-playing games, tabletop role-playing games, what have you. Like prison breaks and things like that
I
are
am
just
with you.
so
The way
cool.
forward will
It's
not
content
be
that
easy.
is not hard to do right. You just do it right. I think they did it right. And so that it's a big bonus. Underrot is like, why wasn't this in Wrath of the Lich King, right? It kind of sets out. A lot of them feel like these very disconnected stories within them. Like, okay, we have pirates. And granted, I haven't done the alliance leveling because I boosted all my characters. So I don't really know as of yet. Maybe it has something really cool. But like the cultiness of the Shrine of the Storm, I think it's awesome. I think that there is a lot of story in that can be just, you know, like things like that. It gives you a whole T-Mog set. That's badass. That is something that more games need to do, more MMOs need to do. Give out big, cool set pieces for doing dungeons. The only one I see that does that is Elder Scrolls Online. And then have your raids, right? It's a cool looking staff. So you have your dungeons, which the only one they've introduced, I think, is Operation Mechagon. Something's happening.
Stay on your guard. We don't know
Kill
how
this
many
guy.
more Naga are out there.
Yeah, you have that added on. I think Waycrest Manor is awesome because you're going through this really cool, scary manor, all this Wiccan stuff around, things like that are, which this boss here was actually a personal inspiration for a tabletop role-playing game boss that I had, and he was super cool. Really cool boss in the game. I just thought that, wow, that model is amazing. And then you defeat Lord and Lady Waycrest. There's these witches and warlock kind of deal. And then you're still supporting the witch hunters, which, by the way, the witch hunters look absolutely outstanding. It's stuff I've missed from things like Warhammer. And then, oh, but we haven't truly finished it. There's a secret ritual we've been doing this entire time.
I need to get closer.
What? I mean, to tell me you've been actually working on stuff like a ritual? Yep. And it summons this really cool looking boss down below. He's a large Titan looking, you know, obviously using the very cool skeleton Wiccan guy. Things like that are so flavorful, so cool. But then you kind of realize it has no real feed into the greater overall story. I assume old gods were involved with Waycrest Manor. Hell, I assume old gods were really involved in all of this. I know they were in Shrine of Storms. I haven't played Siege of Borealis. Looks like they are, judging by this boss. And I know that, like, Ashvane and stuff, they start to give their lives away to the old gods, which I knew this expansion was going to be. Everyone wanted it to be... The community wanted it to be a lot of PvP, and then they did PvE war zones. Okay. Well, you can't just be pure PvP, right? Like, you got to have content for both. You can't just be exclusive to PvPers, because if you are, right? That's not cool. I don't really PvP. I might do the occasional arena. I definitely did them in Legion when it was very fun to do arenas for the weeklies. But I wouldn't be one to do any kind of PvP outside of that kind of stuff. Yeah, right. I got an award that directly fed into my gameplay loop. That's what I want. Now, in terms of things like that, fine. You can have PvP, you cannot have PvP, but you're advertising it as so much of a PvP expansion, and people got that idea, and now you've shifted to old gods, which everyone, you know, that I spoke with were always like, oh, well, it's just a cover up for whatever story's really going to happen. Sure, but none of that was conveyed. Take a look at every single expansion since the beginning. You knew what they were about. Even if you were going to set up some kind of big baddie to come in like an old god, that's fine. Hint at it a little bit more in your opening trailer. Oh, but it subverts expectations. Well, we had our expectations subverted with Game of Thrones Season 8, and you see how that came out. Like, and I'm talking purely story here for World of Warcraft, not discussing any kind of gameplay systems, which I'll get to. But your story, right, is weak. It's not fun, and it takes a hard pivot from whatever you were trying to do in the beginning. It's hard to picture an old expansion that did the same thing. Cataclysm both did and did not. Because we're fighting a corrupted being, right? But again, that was in the trailer. We already knew Deathwing's backstory. We already knew what he was about. That's okay. It's okay to know some things ahead of time. Especially if you're a big fan of Warcraft. I mean, he's a big Warcraft 2 character. Mists, it kind of did it. It kind of subverted you there for a second. If you think back kind of to Mist's whole gameplay cycle, it really started with teaching you not to be so cruel to each other. That, oh, now that you have a common enemy, you'll band together. Meaning that you will always do this. You're closer than what you think to each other. You think that you aren't, because humans and orcs have to hate each other for some stupid fantasy reason. They don't. They don't at all. In fact, that's an old trope that needs to be taken out of fantasy. And I assume it will soon through new creators. But why have your story pivot when it didn't show it? So what I'm getting at there is, oh, let me get out of this. What I mean by that is, okay, so we see in the trailer for Mists of Pandaria, they want to bring us together. Right? This is the first time we're really not taking care of a big old Warcraft boss that we know of. That's shown in the trailer. And so we're seeing that. And oh, I guess we had a guy up there. We're seeing that, okay, well, you should learn to fight together if you're on this island. Because you're going to be swept up by the creatures that are within. Being the Shah. Essentially saying, if you keep down this path, and you keep going, you will summon the Shah back to Pandaria. Okay, they subverted to a new enemy, but it still set it up of who it was. An old god of some kind. Essentially, because Shah is really just a manifestation of old god magics and emotions. Well, yes, we got Garrosh, but Garrosh has been set up as a villain for 3 expansions at that point. Ever since that cinematic in Wrath of them in the Wizard's Tower in Dalaran, with Varian, Jaina, Thrall, and Garrosh, you know, you can kind of assume that it would be that sense. And he still never got his comeuppance in that expansion. In fact, they had to tell the story through a book, which not necessarily bad. I mean, there's a lot of Star Wars characters that are told through cartoons, which is perfectly fine. But then you move on to Warlords of Draenor. We know who we're fighting. Oh, look. The big bad is there. Gul'dan. He's trying to get the Legion. So he has his own agenda. Oh, but Garrosh has his own agenda. And so even though the story might have changed throughout the 3 patches that we're in, it still showed the Legion was going to become the enemy. And then we took a look at Legion cinematic. Obviously, the Legion is the enemy. Set up very well, I might add. I actually don't mind the whole alternate realities because of how it led into it. And because of the fact that demons are eternal no matter the reality. Manaroth was never killed permanently. So once you see that he has a way of getting his chance again, he'll take it. He's a pit lord. He's in an island. That's what they do. They're scheming just like the Nathrezim. Not as quick and cunning, maybe. But speaking of Nathrezim, you know, I watched Harbinger's Khadgar again pretty recently. And man, what a tragic way to get him off the screen. I don't know if you just couldn't get the voice actor anymore. If you just didn't want to have him around for a 3rd expansion. But you've had Sylvanas around for, it'll be 3 cinematics she's in, I should say. But the fact that you didn't want to put Khadgar in, and you got rid of arguably your best character, because Khadgar is fantastic, especially if you read or if you listen to that Khadgar Harbingers, that is top tier stuff. You got rid of him because essentially you're saying we want to set up a bullshit expansion. We're fighting again. He's like, really? After the Legion, we defeated Sargeras, essentially. Us and the Titans together. And now you just want to turn tail and start fighting again? And that's explained in the cinematic, sure, by alliances are forged and broken and all that stuff, and the writing's just kind of weak there. Specifically because of a miscommunication on the Broken Shore, that Varian thought that he was getting turned aside, although the Horde was getting rocked up there on that ridge. Oh, let me hide. And so that's kind of the whole crew of it, right? Is crux, depending on if you know words, oh, it's a big miscommunication. But sure, but that could have been easily talked out. Instead, we find animosity keeps growing, and Gin finds in Stormheim, yeah, finds her trying to enslave the head Valkyrie. Pretty awful thing to do, but she wants her immortality so she doesn't go to them all. It's a bunch of ways to slow build Sylvanas' character. So then we move into Legion and go to Battle for Azeroth. We see the battle for Lordaeron, which never played out the way we thought it would, by the way. Which, again, is okay. Sieges rarely ever do. But it's all about Horde Alliance, War Fronts. We got Darkshore. We got you here on essentially beating each other, especially when you hit 120, beating each other to their own game and things like that. And then we've had some old god stuff, whispers in the background, and now we're gonna make that main villain. Azshara's here, which if they never put out the Warbringer Azshara, that would have never been anything. That would have been so off-putting, and it still is off-putting. Just pivoting. You got Uldir, which is about Gahun and the Blood Trolls, and they might have some old god references. And then you have to deal with kind of dying here. Battle for Dazar lore. Alright, a siege. Yeah. This feels like Siege of Orgrimmar, you know? But then it pivots again. Because you're fighting them. You see from the different sides. And then boom, Crucible Swords. Whoa. Old gods are moving hard. Which you don't exactly see in each zone. You only see that if you're playing Alliance. You don't see a whole bunch of the old god stuff with him because you only see the blood trolls. As far as I can remember, yeah, it was Titans trying to find a way to defeat the old gods. There's old god stuff in there. But you don't really see a whole lot of it. Why don't you just fight that bat and the large spider and stuff of that nature? But what I'm getting at is, it's not hyped up enough. It is not in the trailer of their, like, being some kind of old god influence after or during the siege, you know? It's not like they were showing like, you guys need to work together because old gods are coming back, which, by the way, is totally a step down in threat from the fucking Legion. I mean, we honestly should be able to march in there and just stab them. But because we blasted all of our power out onto the sword, which is a pressing matter. I mean, it's the sword of Sargeras. Tayshalak, or whatever it was derived from. Whatever Tayshalak's derived from.
Pass into the world's heart.
Is a pretty big step down in terms of power. And then you introduce this new Azerite, which we've never seen before. Right? What is the sword the only thing that could bring it out? Oh shit, I forgot to. Is the sword the only thing that could bring it out? Because
Break yourselves upon my body. Feel the strength of the earth.
if it is, it makes sense. But really, I assume that's like the only thing that can move.
Is complete.
Anyway, I assume that was the only thing that was strong enough to actually make Azeroth bleed. I mean, we go to the Molten Core,
Break
but that's
yourselves
elementals
upon
opening it
my
up.
body.
The Therazane never mentions
The
it.
strength of the earth.
Ragnaros never mentioned it. So, like, there is a pretty large amount of we never mentioned this, but just made it up. Which, again, it's fine. I mean, it's all fantasy. You're supposed to make it up. But make it up earlier. I mean, we've gone to Deepholm, which is the core of the world, isn't it? I'm right here in a dungeon in Deepholm. The Stone Core. And you don't see any Azerite. You just see all these other gems. So, now we're making it up. We're basing our whole expansion around it. We've got this Heart of Azeroth, which we've never seen before, that can absorb all this power. And now you have these cool pieces of armor, which is a system I'll get to, that give you new powers and stuff. And it's like, where was this before? Where? You had to have had it at some point. It's not like Sargeras' sword made her bleed to that point. Stuff was making her bleed before. These people are mining through it. You would have hit some kind of Azerite something in the past. It's just how that shit would work. But instead it's... actually, no. Sargeras' sword is the thing that brings it out. Why? Because he stabbed her real deep? To the Stone Core? Like, where we are? And that's what brought it to the surface? Because that's what would bring it to the surface. And then, that happened in Silithus. But Azerite's popping up all over the world. Nowhere near the wound. And the winds of magic, or however you want to explain it, wouldn't carry that far to where you would be hit. And seeing... You wouldn't be seeing Kalimdor, Silithus down here. This is where the freaking sword is. And then you'd be seeing it in Kultiras? Like, what? No, that makes no sense. It was nowhere near the wound. It's not even on the other side of the world, because we've already established this is one... Azeroth, the part of Azeroth we're on is the only part of the world that we know of. It's not like our world where Asia could almost be mirrored to us once you wrap it around the globe. Our world is so vast in Azeroth that there's a whole other side of the world we don't know anything of.
Witness the power bestowed upon me by
So
Deathwing. Feel the fury
we
of
kind of need to find out that. We need to kind of clear up maybe some confusions around Azerite. Like, she's tearing the earth up to pieces, and there's no Azerite flowing out of it or anything of that nature. So why just introduce it now? Makes no sense. And then it really doesn't make sense for us to just abandon it
For my death, countless more will fall.
like they plan on doing. I get that you want to abandon it to go to the Shadowlands because it's the afterlife. Yeah, 100%. You should. But are we going to see it ever again after that? Is the world just not going to care that it's bleeding? There's a lot of story that needs to be, I wouldn't say remedied in Shadowlands. Shadowlands can ignore this expansion. Other than Sylvanas becoming a huge bitch, and the really cool cinematic of her doing Sourfang and all that other stuff in Sourfang's Rebellion, all that jazz. That's really cool. But it can just ignore all of this. It does not have to worry about it whatsoever. I'm sure Gen will be like, you took everything from me and all this other shit, and she'll pretty much be like, I don't know who you are. Pretty much Thanos her ass. His ass. And it almost just won't matter. But that's the only thing that I could see like actually carrying over story-wise. Where we've had 3 solid connections of expansions. 4. Pretty much really well leading into each other. But we're repeating. Right? Oh, God. I did not go the right way in the slightest. We're essentially repeating Garrosh's everything. She just flew away and was like, bye. And then reappears to solo the Lich King.
There is a source of great
Kill him.
power up ahead. Be
And, or not kill him, but get him close to death. And that's it. And then solos his ass. I mean, just straight up. Wow, like, shouldn't be able to do that.
I am Okami, leader of the Waveblade clan.
And he does, or she does.
This way.
I need to get out of this.
We'll harry the enemy while we work our way past the main army.
A people called the Jinyu aided the Alliance in Pandaria. Are they your kin?
My people are known as the Ankoan. We left the land behind long ago.
So the story, I don't think is as broken as people want it to be. You know? People definitely think that it is just smashed to pieces, ruined of a story. Nah, it's salvageable. It's fantasy. Right? Like, some of the writing can be kind of bad or boring even. But there's a difference between being bad and boring and being broken and can't work. The story can work. Honestly, it does work as a good MMO story. Just, I wish this expansion didn't feel so hobbled together. Like, we were going to, even in Warlords Draenor, even though it was a shitty little 3-patch expansion that felt really both rushed and boring, we're still going to the place where we knew Outland was. So we knew the Legion was coming, and plus, the whole reason why he went to go get the Iron Horde, that they helped him escape, helped Garrosh escape to get the Iron Horde, was to fight the Legion. Because they knew the Legion was coming back. Inadvertently causing the Legion to happen. It's actually pretty solid. Like, the whole point of time and alternate reality is sometimes, you know, even though Garrosh has times change, there's still the inevitable of Gul'dan getting the Legion. And that's actually a pretty solid little twist. I wouldn't say twist, but, you know, message is you can't avoid everything. Even if you could redo it, the Legion is still brought here. These peoples are still trying to destroy this world, and they're very close.
This land was once the heart of the Night Elves' empire. I can sense ley lines of magical energy converging below ground.
Gameplay wise, right? There's a lot of systems. There's a lot of stuff to do. None of it is fun. I hate grinding AP personally. Like, it's just as a personal choice, I just don't like grinding AP. So the Heart of Azeroth is not something I enjoy as a system. It's more passive than most of the artifacts. Actually, all the artifacts were. but it still doesn't have that same. It almost has a level of why are you here then? Because even though this has the same level of increasing our power by an immense amount over the course of the expansion, it still doesn't have that same level of fun artifacts brought. A whole new button you can press, plus, you know, X amount of things, which is why Shadowlands looks fantastic, because you get both a Covenant ability and a class Covenant ability. That's badass. 2 whole new buttons you get to press. One of them is essentially a utility, because all the Covenant abilities are just utilities. But you might get a brand new weapon. Button. You might get a brand new utility. You might get a brand new anything. Personally, I'm looking forward to his arms to get Condemn. A new Execute that does shadow damage, and I can use it at 80% and 20%. Cool. That's crazy cool. But the heart doesn't have any of that. And even though the AP grind is changing into something else, what Covenants are showing us right now is that it's going to be different. It's not just going to be the heart and then you get your essences. And then there you go. Have fun. Grind this neck up for no reason. No, it's going to be getting mounts, getting pets, getting titles, getting T-Mog, getting tons of stuff. And then each Covenant has its own weekly thing to do, its own bosses you can summon and fight. Like, there's so much stuff going on. I don't think there's not a problem to me of having too many systems. You can have a shit ton of systems, right? As long as they're good systems. We have our neck. Okay. Well, I also have to deal with getting these cool pieces in here. And getting a right, ability. A power. Oh, and then I have to deal with essences. Okay, so now I have to deal with getting these essence thingies. Deal with that. And luckily now they're account bound. They weren't. So then you had to do them per character. You have your corruption, which is a needless thing. Get some cool ability, but get these drawbacks. Like, alright. And I haven't done the raid enough to know how it plays into each other. I'm sure it has a very cool thing. But corruption's going away in the pre-patch anyway, so who cares? But do that. Get these things. And none of them are fun. Oh, and then introduce this whole new rep and a tons of stuff out in Nazjatar. Okay. I can level this guy. It's actually a pretty cool system. That's a good system, I think. Okay, now Nyalotha, get corruption, but don't get corruption. Because it could hurt you. And you can take more damage and all this other stuff. Tone it back. And take a good critical look at your systems. I mean, what we have right now coming up is Covenants, Adventures, which are like an auto battler from what I'm hearing. You still have your world quests, your emissaries, things like that. Luckily, they got rid of Warforged, Titanforge. So now the piece you get is the piece you get. You can upgrade it though. We got Torghast, endless content. Even if you don't even think Mythic Plus is endless content, because Mythic Plus is endless content, you can keep striving to be better all the time. You now get Torghast to push your own personal achievements, or go 5-man, I think. You can even go up to a 5-man dungeon. Perfect. That is amazing. What do we have that's similar right now in BFA? Island adventures. I can tell you I've done exactly 3 island adventures, and that was when the game first launched. And I thought there were a way to get gear. I never really got gear. Then they introduced mythic adventures and all this other shit. Can't even really queue for them out of the dungeon finder. You got to go to their specific ones. I'd rather have scenarios back over those. Scenarios were actually very cool. Scenarios let you see shit that was unfucking real, and you can still have 1 to 3 people in it. You got to see really cool, big story, cinematic moments. And there used to be a button for it. Scenario finder. Now there's not. But scenarios were cool. Now you get to do these island expeditions, which the theme is like fight dudes. Instead of climb up this really cool tower of the undead. Oh, you find this guy in the basement. He can forge you legendary items. What? Whoa. Hell yeah, I'm on board with that. I am on fucking board with that. You best believe I'm on board with that shit. Island Adventures, who gives a shit? Cast off and, I don't know, go kill some dudes and get these things in time and then come back and blah. Okay. What about this Tower of the Undead, right? That has, I don't know, a cool guy hidden in the basement you can unlock that forges you items. Get out of here. That's way cooler. So some of the systems are going to be improved on. I solely believe this was another WAD. I hate to say it's a Windows, right? It's a Windows operating system. You get one that's great. You get one that's a skippable. That's so bad. It's Windows 8 or Vista. And then you get to go on to the next cool, big expansion / operating system. Windows 10, Shadowlands, Warlords, which would have been Vista, to Windows 7, which is Legion. Like, cool shit like that. It is what I'm looking forward to. And it is going to be an amazing expansion. People are complaining it's going to be BFA all over again. I don't think so. It looks to me like there's going to be enough ease of access in the systems that are going to allow you to have characters in all covenants, and you're going to work on all of them and be fine. Even putting in maybe a couple hours a day. Not on each, but I mean a couple hours a day, and you can hit all of them. So why not play it, right? Like, altaholics will love that shit. Main onlys will love it. And I think it'll be an expansion to look back on with a firm fondness. There's almost no reason to like BFA over Shadowlands, and there's almost no reason that if you don't like BFA to not play Shadowlands. You know, a lot of people are like, well, I'm done with the game. This should get you back into the game. Just like Legion did with WAD. And arguably Mists of Pandaria. Although I love Mists. But not everyone did, right? So, you know, you get to kind of deal with stuff like that. Personally, Shadowlands, not Shadowrun. Whoops. Shadowlands looks fantastic. I think it's going to be a game changer and game saver. When people looked at WoW Classic as saving World of Warcraft, I mean, that's an issue. Granted, there's tons of people that don't know anything about business that play World of Warcraft and want to armchair it. Honestly, I'm kind of armchairing it here. But there is some truth to that. Unfortunately, those layoffs happened. Unfortunately, a lot of things surrounding this fantastic game have happened. But I truly believe it gave them the resources to push them into a better future. And have a lot of good stuff for Shadowlands. BFA wasn't it. It is a alternative to a million bad ideas, because those always exist. And this is what we got. A boring mess. I say boring because every single time I take a look at any piece of BFA content, I get extremely bored. I'm enjoying it because I have some stuff to do, and I absolutely love the state Arms Warriors in. Beat stuff up with huge mortal strikes, which is great. I love stuff like that. And I have some gear that I'm behind in, right? I'm only 413 item level. So I can kind of gear up, and I have some stuff to do. And I'm trying to build a guild over Mountain Gaming. But if that doesn't happen, or if I do get the gear I'm looking for, I get bored with the game, I might unsub. It is very possible. Once pre-patch hits, though, I'm full in. I am full into the pre-patch. I am playing like there's no tomorrow. But that's going to end that rant. I can go on forever about this expansion, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still World of Warcraft. There's still something you can find enjoyable. Like I mentioned, playing the class. Absolutely enjoy playing this class. And that is enough for me to go on right now. So, fuck it. I'll enjoy it while I can.
The time for dreaming is over. Thank you, champion. Now,
No problem.
we need to gather our wits and reinforce our position.
Our world needs us, champion. Our world, champion. Mother has a new plan to save Azeroth. Meet us in the Chamber of Heart as soon as you can.
The Champions of Azeroth and the whole wounds thing it's become a meme. But for a reason. I really thought they were going to do a little more with them. They kept talking about like how Iganoth had the whole like the crystal one will bring the fifth king or whatever, or the young king to us, and we'll have him, and you know, a bunch of cool whisper stuff. Which that could be seen as a slow build. Like that's Il'gynoth right there. He's not a tree anymore. Such cool stuff. Like there's just a lot of
I need to get closer.
like if you were looking for that slow build, that's a payoff.
There you are, champion. We've made repairs to the Chamber of Hearts since you were last here.
Contamination levels.
But if you weren't expecting, like if you weren't really into old god stuff, which I'm not really, I love the Legion.
Hello. Error. Exit coordinate designation. High Mountain. Essence origin. Unknown.
Spirit Walker Ebonhorn.
I knew you would come. I too have sensed something deep beneath High Mountain, in the caverns that were once Neltharian's lair. Let us investigate.
We are High Mountain.
Azeroth can bring us directly to the source of the disturbance. I serve the descendants of
But
Hope.
see, what I'm talking about, man, there's just magically Azerite in here. Why wasn't there previously? When the Drogbar were down here, tearing shit up. Makes no sense.
This is worse than I feared. Their kind still harbors enmity toward the Black Dragonflight.
You're gonna have me soak it up. Like this shit should have existed. There was no reason not for it to. Like the Earthen Ring has never talked about it. They certainly never talked about it with Deathwing. You know, like even an inkling of, oh, we found this strange rock. You know? Like even back in Classic, you could have even had it, or Burning Crusade, or whenever. Especially when we were back on Azeroth and at the end of Burning Crusade for the Sunwell. You know, have it then. The Earthen Ring found this strange rock after we got back from Outlands, when we were all searching. We started searching the world. Floor is lava, but I can touch it. It's okay. It doesn't hurt me. If anything, I heal from it because of these stupid Azerite orbs. Sealed the fissures.
High Chieftain. May the ancestors watch over you.
Go ahead and get my last piece here.
Stone Lord.
Stone Lord.
Protector of High Mountain. We have come to claim the essence you now hold. I know you, dragon. Kin of the World Breaker. You are unworthy of such power.
Wait, the voice.
I am free of my father's madness. We seek to wield the essence in defense of Azeroth. Then face me and prove you have the strength to do so.
Just like looking up at him.
Very well. We accept your challenge. The earth will break you.
It's too far away.
I think.
The earth will break you.
Don't worry. I've done this dungeon about 1,000,000 times. I've been in here plenty of times before, guy. You're not gonna make me leave. That's right. Can't take it.
Well fought, champion. The essence is yours to claim. It is done. I serve the descendants
Pretty cool.
of Hull. Carefully. The Stone Mother will be watching. I will meet you in the Chamber of Heart. There we will speak more of the essence and the role it shall play.
Alright. Excited to see it. Fist. Guess we'll head over to Borealis and then head back over. Back to Silithus. First gotta grab some Blingtron. Fun. Rotten food. Just what I wanted. Tasty. Tasty treat. All right.
I knew you would come.
Well met.
Here comes Mother.
Do you require experimentation? Heartforge
You're back,
activation
champion.
required.
And you brought...
I see.
Lauren.
This forge will unlock the power of each essence.
Go ahead and sell all this stuff to Mother here.
Aid you in
Designation
restoring
of
this
the sea.
world.
Black Dragonflight. Lack of oath by corruption.
Good to meet a black
indicates
dragon
no
that
threat
isn't trying to kill us all. Abyssian, is it? I'm Magni Bronzebeard.
Looks like my time walking
In my Tauren
is open,
I
so
am
let's
known
go do
as
that. Oh,
Ebony.
Pinnacle of Clouds.
As the
Or Vortex
construct
Pinnacle.
said, I am here
See,
to help.
I don't understand why they went from these incense portals back to the classic ones when starting Legion. Never made any sense to me. I guess resources, but there were a lot of parts in even Legion that felt kind of unfinished. Like every time you started the Stormheim dungeon or Stormheim opener, the airship battle, it always hit the essentially unassigned or default loading screen. They never made one for it. And that was, I think, the whole thing throughout Legion was like that, which is interesting. And then, what else? What do we get out of that? Then, like a couple pieces of Legion were like really well done, well thought out. Yeah, banished. Hate being banished. Yeah, Vortex Pinnacle's kind of long. Oh well. We'll get it done. And we'll move on. Don't want to do time walking until next time it comes around. Really hope they do time walking Legion. That'll be a blast. Do a really cool mount for it. I think they will. It'd be free, you know. I wouldn't say free money because you just pay a monthly subscription, but if you look at daily server numbers, they'd be higher for that. Not like they report numbers anymore anyway, unfortunately. I like how the spirit just plays dead. It's like, oh, you don't see me. So goofy. So goofy. Dungeon was always kind of boring to me. I hate that I didn't like Oldham when it first came out. Mostly because I fly over it and I see so much cool stuff a lot of the times, and I'm like, man, I wish I would experience that again. And I'll get to with the level squish. I'll have a character that goes completely through Cataclysm, and I would make it a point to do Oldham. I really want to experience new leveling, like, right now. If it was, I probably wouldn't even be playing this character, honestly. If it hits in pre-patch, I mean, I will just play that in pre-patch. Leveling up everyone I want to. I really hope the level squish comes in pre-patch. Or level 50. I know there's no plans for it as of now, but... But if they do decide to add it, I mean, I think they'll get a shit ton of subscribers. I'm just worried about 2 months for pre-patch or something just abnormally long. Actually, 2 months makes sense. I think because I know Warlords of Draenor had a long, they just had a long patch cycle anyway. I mean, 18, coming off of 18 months of Siege of Orgrimmar, they had to do something. and barely having any real patches. I mean, like I said, I quit the other night. I said I quit playing. I was geared enough for high mall, and I quit playing, and then like came back maybe a month later or so. Whenever high mall launched. Very interesting little. I'm level 300. Oh, because he might be lower item level.
I need to get closer.
They also had a, going back to the Warlords of Draenor pre-patch, they also had a lot going on during that. Unlike Legion pre-patch, it was just assaults. Like you have the whole quest line to do for Warlords. That ended with, I think, the new version of Ubers. Like, you had actually a decent amount to do during pre-patch. Shit, probably more content in pre-patch than there was in the game, but I actually thoroughly enjoyed Hellfire Citadel. I thought it was a pretty cool little dungeon, or raid. Seeing it kind of become what it was supposed to become, instead of the cracked version that it was in Outlands. Actually seeing like what they should have done with it if they had the time. The Fell Horde. Oh yeah, you actually aren't supposed to kill these. You're supposed to get them to shut up. Got Blade Storm. I just thoroughly enjoy ARMS. This has been a blast. And luckily there's no big changes coming to it in Shadowlands. So I'll just play Venthyr, which I wanted to anyway because vampires are fucking cool. And then play with Execute being a better version of itself. No, nothing wrong with that. God, these things take forever. Just die. Yes, I know you're an Empyrean assassin. It means you're just like made of air. Guys got the classic flaming paladin transmog. It's actually pretty lame. I can't remember what this boss's mechanics were. He did some, yeah. There it is, the shifting air. Probably to knock you into his stupid vortexes. Oh my god. Holy shit. And there was one that I think made you swing faster, right? Yeah, essentially gives you heroism. And one that makes your attacks slower. Oh, not a good idea. Be bounced up in one of those. Good one again. I actually got the mount from this dude. I would love to get the time walking mount. That dragon would drop. It'd be badass. Going so fast I can't even keep up. And then one of the coolest races and created for WoW. These guys are so badass. Essentially a race of Sphinx.
It's too far away.
Do I really not have the buff? Does it not give you as a buff anymore? Or does it only do it, yeah, when you move? Okay.
I need to get closer.
I think that's a nullification zone, which silences you while you're in it. But silences everything while they're in it. Oh, my... Oh, I thought I had aggro. Scared for my life there for a minute. Yeah, we gotta get those heals. Damage is second to getting healed, so. Hand of Sac? Oh, Blessing of Freedom. I don't even know if Hand of Sacrifice still exists. Stupid stars. Mortal Strike a star. Isn't that cool? We're almost there. Just this massive, stupid pool. Good. That. Bug coming in. No. Guys, you're getting greater heals off. Oh, I didn't notice that. They made these 15-second cooldowns now. Grounding field. Spells targeted in this unit will be redirected. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, I mean, we gotta kill this.
You tread upon the sacrosanct? Mortals have no place!
This boss is actually pretty easy. Most people just never remember how to do it. Watch my ass get fucking shredded or something. Remember, everybody's gotta hide in it. You don't have to get in the field yet. Only when he does yet, yeah. Too slow. Oh yeah, you're a priest. You have like 0 mobility. I can't. Yeah, okay. Wish we had a range DPS to take out those fucking stars. I don't think he can stay alive to kill it. You're gonna have to do a shit ton of damage real fast. He's a paladin and he can heal himself, but he's not doing it. Oh, there he is. You better get to that grounding field, buddy. You're gonna be demolished. He doesn't do any damage. There we go. I think he can do it. He did it. Whew. That's cool. I know a mount dropped off him. Oh, the time walking mount, I guess he assumed. He said that he should have seen. Yeah, it's actually the same, pretty much. Yeah, it's an upgrade because it gives me crit strength. He said he should have gotten them out for that. It's like, dude, I see priests, or I see tanks have to solo that one all the time because no one ever knows how to do it. The ones that do know how to do it are a good group, but you never get those because no one ever knows how to get in the damn field. The only way I died is because of the stars. Yeah, Crucible Flame, which I already have. Now I can shoot a cool bolt. I guess they're... Are they account bound? I could have sworn I had another one. Ah, well. I don't really care. I don't plan on using it much.
Back to work.
Do want to turn this in though. Shutter Path Through Time. Turn it in, and Borealis. Back to the boar of the owl of the us, an unwelcome advisor. That's what we need to get our cloak.
Champion. And our spies have yet to uncover anything regarding N'Zoth's plan of attack.
But it's just another case of them having a pivot from the war to fight whatever's going on. It's like, just, you know, these challenges are going to come up at this point. It's like the Avengers. Iron Man knew there was going to be another threat. He knew it was Thanos, sure, but he knew there was going to be another threat. And he still was just like, oh no. What's going to happen?
Step closer and don't mumble. Come back with some better stories.
Alright. Oh, yes. Damn, that's exactly what I needed, too. Sucks I had to get rid of the Doom Shroom. I wish I would have gotten something net new instead of just replacing an old thing, but still. I think it's like a best in slot trinket. Although I think that is going to do it for today's stream. Starting on my new schedule, there will not be a stream tomorrow. Instead, I'm putting out some other content on my other channel. Or actually, rather, filming content from my other channel. So I need to focus on that. But I will see you guys here tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for joining in and chatting. It has meant the world to me. And I shall see you in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.